Well, while Christmas is still hours away here in the States, we are starting to see celebrations around the world. At the Vatican, Pope Francis opened the holy door of St. Peter's Basilica this Christmas Eve. You can see him there. He's getting wheeled in right there at the Mass at the cathedral, as he inaugurates the Vatican's 2025 Jubilee year, an event expected to draw tens of millions of visitors. And then in Paris, the Notre Dame Cathedral opening its doors to celebrate its first Christmas Mass 5 years after that famous fire tore through the interior of the church, turning hundreds of years of history into ashes. Now it's back. That's incredible. And now you're taking a live look at Bethlehem, where the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem is leading Mass tonight. But the city, synonymous with the birth of Jesus, looks a little different than in years past. It's, of course, in the shadow of the war in Gaza. The usual festive lights, big tree, and crowds of foreign tourists that typically fill that city center missing for the second year. NBC's Raf Sanchez is in Jerusalem to that end. And Raf, you actually met one woman who has family weathering the war in Gaza. What did she tell you?
So, Maggie, we spent some time with Nuha Tarazi. She is 79 years old. She's Christian. She's from Gaza originally, but she's living in Bethlehem now for more than 40 years. But she still has family there, including siblings, and they are staying along with hundreds of members of Gaza's Christian community in a church in the ruins of Gaza City. They've been seeking shelter there for more than a year. And Nuha told us just how difficult it is to try to celebrate the holiday where she is in Bethlehem, knowing that her family is suffering in Gaza. Take a listen.
I will not feel well if I did this, why they are suffering there. But as a believer, as I told you, we still have hope. And God will not leave us alone.
And Maggie, we were with her as she was trying to call her brother and sister on her landline in Bethlehem, the phone just not connecting again and again and again. And I don't want to call this good news, but our crew in Gaza was actually able to reach her siblings the next day, and they did get her on the phone. And one of the things her sister said, even as that Israeli bombing was continuing all around her, was, I really, really hope that you are able to find some joy in Christmas. Don't worry about us. Try to enjoy the season where you are. Maggie.
Yeah, I wouldn't holistically call that good news either, but we're just, I think, immensely relieved to hear that update, Raf. Appreciate it. We talked a little bit about this split screen like Christmas in Bethlehem before the war in Gaza and now during. You've been covering this war since the beginning. Can you give us your perspective on just how the landscape has changed there?
So, Maggie, Bethlehem in a normal year, people will tell you it is the capital of Christmas, the main square dominated by an enormous tree. This year, there is no tree. There are basically no official festivities. We watched a scout parade earlier today, but there were no instruments, there were no drums. And this is a city that is really grappling with how to mark this important holiday when there is still so much suffering going on. It is a question that faith leaders are struggling with. It is a question that ordinary people are struggling with. And I will tell you, it is somber in Bethlehem in a way that in years past, it is really, really a joyful place to be over Christmas. That is not to say that there is no happiness there. There are not many tourists, as you can imagine right now with the war going on, but we did meet a whole bunch of foreign visitors. They were domestic workers living in Israel, but they had crossed over into Bethlehem. And I want to play you just a little bit of the conversation we had with them. Take a listen. How do you feel when you're here in Bethlehem?
So blessed.
When you were growing up in the Philippines, did you ever think you would see Bethlehem?
This is my dream.
This is your dream, to see Bethlehem?
Yes, it is.
So these are people largely from Southeast Asia. They are many thousands of miles from their family at Christmas, but you can really see the joy that it gave them to be at that church built on the site where Jesus is said to have been born. Maggie.
Yeah, you really can. Raf Sanchez, we appreciate your reporting year-round, but especially during the holidays. Thank you so much for that perspective.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.